Pole position for the opening round of the PTP Caterham 1600 Roadsport Challenge, and Jerry Taylor, car number 8, on pole position on a damp Donington Park circuit. Alongside him, second fastest in qualifying reigning champion David Clark. Third quickest in this open sports car category, Ben Entwistle, with Ross Bygrave alongside him. And Peter Mangan lines up fifth on the grid with Richard Hay in sixth place. Donington Marshals do it in the wet. Well, that's just as well, because everybody else has to as well. A very wet track facing these cars, and a good getaway as the lights change will be vital to everybody here. Fairly even start from the front row men. David Clark outside of the front row, and look back already, kicking up rooster tails of spray at Ross Bygrave and everybody else following him through. Wipers are on. Unfortunately, that doesn't help clean the inside of the windscreen in these cars, and Richard Hay's onboard camera shows you just what these drivers are struggling against. He's navigating here using a sextant and compass rather than being able to see his way down the Craner curves. Hay up into fifth place from his sixth place on the grid. But a stunning start, because going into second place there was 69, Thomas Jakovic, the Austrian driver who started 10th. Well, Richard Hay goes around the outside of pole man Jerry Taylor, and a weave as Taylor comes back. Hay's got a couple of wheels on the grass, it's not coming back. Oh dear, well, he gets off the throttle and onto the brakes very sensibly. But Richard Hay drops a long way down the order, so David Clark leads from second on the grid. The green car with the yellow Lotus-style colours, 69, Thomas Jakovic from 10th starting place. In third place is Ross Bygrave. Well, Richard Hay still desperately trying to get back on without the use of the tractor. Rejoining Stone last there. Off backwards goes Alan Finn. At least he kept it on the track. Riding with Howard Redhouse now. Redhouse started in 8th place. But the man who has made undoubtedly the getaway of the race in second place, now closing down David Clark, the leader, and that is Thomas Jakovic. Looking back then, at the end of the first lap from David Clark, to second place man Howard Jakovic, third is Ross Bygrave, then fourth Jerry Taylor, fifth Howard Redhouse, then Ben Entwistle and Guy Spur disputing sixth place. Tailenders coming through Goddard's. Richard Hay in the black car on the move, just 6/10 away from pole in dry conditions. Now he is fighting his way through the slower cars in very different conditions indeed. Picks up 2 places on the straight, onto the brakes into Goddard's, looking down the inside. He's obviously very fired up after his first lap incident. A little touch with Jerry Taylor, enough to put him off the track, and here is the battle for the lead then. David Clark holding on at the moment, but 69, Thomas Jakovic right with him, and those two have a comfortable margin over third place man Ross Bygrave. Jerry Taylor's not doing himself any favours sliding around there. Richard Hay splashing through the midfield traffic, looking to pick up another one out of the old hairpin. Jakovic now closing right down on the leader. We ride with David Clark, the first place car, the reigning champion, but look at this. Jakovic just flying past him on the straight. Will he be able to hold it on the brakes? Clark has the inside line. He's trying to find enough room to squirrel it down. Under braking, he holds on. But I fear the writing may be on the wall for David Clark, because Thomas Jakovic is not giving this one up at all. He goes down the inside, almost 2 wheels on the grass at Redgate. Clark comes out to take the wide line. Jakovic has the place, he leads. The Austrian leads, and the novice cross on the back of the car shows just what a great job he's doing. Howard Redhouse in 5th place, the number 7 machine. Big slide from Jerry Taylor ahead.
No longer matters with Thomas Jakovic.
So Jakovic out front, Clark in second place, and there's still a big gap. Ross Bygrave doesn't seem to be able to do much about that. Jerry Taylor now with Howard Redhouse getting closer by the lap, but I think time may run out before Redhouse gets a chance to make a challenge. We ride with him now in 4th place. Third place man, 4-wheel drifting through the corner. Battles all the way down the order, this Caterham field. Not particularly tightly packed given the conditions, but certainly every space tightly disputed at the moment. 27 there, James Mills right in the middle of that battling group. The battle for the lead is what's keeping everybody occupied. Can David Clark find a way through? Bygrave, Taylor and Redhouse now very much closer. Right again with Howard Redhouse. Jerry Taylor all over the curbs, and Howard Redhouse has a chance to pull alongside as Taylor has to come off the throttle to bring it back under control. James Mills picks up a place under braking, uses the inside of the circuit as he goes across the mud. He seems to have survived that one. And Howard Redhouse has got past Jerry Taylor finally. So Jerry Taylor drops down again as this big four-way battle comes towards us. Mills now at the front of it. Jonathan Elvin behind him, then Simon Bennett.
13th place.
So here is our leader then, the final time around for Tomasz Jakubowicz. Clark still with him, keeping him honest there, but Clark not quite close enough to make any challenge at the old hairpin. Down among the tail end cars. And Fenton Ramsahoy spinning away at Goddard's, having to wait a few spots as everybody goes by him. Rejoins with no damage done, and safely out of the way of the lead battle into Goddard's for the final time. Tomasz Jakubowicz from 10th on the grid leads out of the last corner. He has a big slide in the puddle, but an even bigger one from David Clark, and a real almost dramatic ending there as both drivers just held onto their cars, almost spinning before the checkered flag. So a great victory from 10th on the grid from Tomasz Jakubowicz ahead of reigning champion David Clark. Caterham Roadsport Challenge at Snetterton. These cars in road-going trim down to tax discs and number plates. Either 1600cc Rover K Series powered, like most of the cars, or the older 1400cc engines. 5 or 6 cars at the back of the grid. On pole position is Jerry Taylor from Dave Clark, but our camera is with Ross Bygrave, starting 8th on the outside of row 4. Down to the first corner we go, and Bygrave on the outside. Just ahead of him, number 3, Alan Finn, the Purple Machine. They make it safely into the first corner, but there is bodywork flying rather predictably. And everybody safely through, not quite, no. One of the tail-ending 1600cc cars has gone over onto the dirt and back into the track, being hit by somebody. The leaders now, oh, and Alan Finn gets a big thump in to the S's. The leader's now at the S's and through it. Alan Finn punches the starter. And, oh dear, somebody else in trouble. Chris Wood there, the yellow car, on top of number 22, Amos Rooney. Well, a red flag because of that blocked track. Everybody ready to restart, apart from Amos Rooney, unfortunately for him, out of the race. Away they go again, riding with Jonathan Elvin. Started in 12th place on the grid. And that's a very worrying proposition. Bad enough when your car has got enclosed wheels. Very bad news indeed in the Caterhams, because the drivers drive them as though that they are closed wheel cars, when in fact, of course, they stick out at all 4 corners. Safely through the first 2 corners, Ritchie's and Sear onto the Revet straight and riding with Austrian driver Tomasz Jakubowicz. And he's picking up a toe now. Qualified in 3rd place. He's going for the lead around the outside. And will he get it? No, he won't. That was David Clark, the darker car that he was chasing. Ross Bygrave looking for 5th place and seeing it slide away. I shouldn't be surprised. Yes, by him goes 77. Chris Cooper up from 9th on the grid. And that's a very good start indeed for the novice. There he is, just leading Bygrave through. And the black car of number 23, Jonathan Elvin, our other cameraman, looking down the inside. Picks up the spot from 10, that's Ben Entwistle. Number 25 there, losing control, Conrad Stork, trying to go around the outside of Richard Hay. Holds on to it though as David Clark leads. Number 7, Howard Redhouse, just in 2nd place. Tomasz Jakubowicz, we ride with him, he's in 3rd in his green and gold machine. Should be red and white, shouldn't it really, for an Austrian, but he doesn't seem to mind. He's up into 2nd place now in the number 69 machine. Jerry Taylor with the yellow car with the white wings right with them. And then fanning out around the outside, number 24, Rob Garofal. And Garofal going right down the inside in the braking area, but doesn't pick up any positions from it. Jonathan Elvin now through the S's. Loses a spot there under braking. The outside line is the quickest, but it does open you up to being passed really quite easily. Jerry Taylor still chasing. Got the toe down the straight. Can he make good use of it? Yes, he does. He's ahead into the braking area, and he takes the ideal line as well into Riches. So Tomasz Jakubowicz goes back down to third place as Jerry Taylor goes up to second. But as they go through Sia, Jakubowicz gets ahead. You can see them just up ahead. A similar battle using all the runoff zone there. But back to this battle out front. Jerry Taylor now out in the lead. David Clark in second place. The white and blue machine. Tomasz Jakubowicz right with them. 1, 2 and 3. And they're starting to ease away from Howard Redhouse, the silver machine, in fourth place. And Rob Garofol behind. But look at this, side by side. Clark and Taylor, the quickest two men in qualifying. Taylor out-qualified Clark. And now Clark leads. Jakubowicz and Taylor side by side. Taylor on the dirt, Jakubowicz using the track. Now Jakubowicz on the dirt, Taylor using the track. He shakes his head. Now I think he thought Jerry Taylor was a wee bit wild going in there. We all know what that hand signal means, doesn't it? What were you thinking of? Still concentrates Thomas, because Jerry Taylor is ahead of you, but now he's under pressure is Tomasz Jakubowicz from Howard Redhouse. Redhouse in fourth in the silver machine as Taylor once more gets her two wheels on the dirt. Big oversteering slide there, and Jakubowicz in a four-wheel drift. He was perhaps distracted by that, went in a little quick, loses the place to Redhouse. So Jakubowicz down now to fourth place. Coming towards us then in a queue, because they're all trying to follow the hole in the air that David Clark's machine is carving. It's Clark, Taylor's second, Redhouse is third, Jakubowicz is fourth. That is the lead quartet. They've broken away now from the rest of the field. And here comes our cameraman. There's Richard Hay battling for position once more. Number 21 machine with 11, Ross Beer behind him. Beer qualified 13th, Hay 14th, so they've been battling like that all the way through the race. So have these guys. Jerry Taylor, the poleman, right ahead of us. Then David Clark, the new leader, right ahead of him. Oh dear, and they're side by side. Jakubowicz has been hung out to dry on the inside, but he gets his nose in. Clark leads. Jakubowicz, Taylor, and then Redhouse. And for a moment, David Clark with a tiny breathing space, because Tomasz Jakubowicz in second place is absorbing all the aggression from Jerry Taylor, metaphorically if not literally, and Jakubowicz will hope it isn't literally as they come down to Russell. Jerry Taylor was very wild in here last time, a little bit more controlled this time, a little bit more controlled, only two wheels on the dirt in the inside, not all four. Clark leads then from Jakubowicz, from Taylor, from Redhouse, and this is where the race is. Rob Garofol has dropped right back into the clutches of the chasing pack. He's nowhere to be seen. This time Taylor picks up second place under braking, and oh dear, here they come. It's like the charge of the Light Brigade, three of them side by side. Rob Garofol on the inside, Ross Bygrave in the middle, the yellow car. Simon Crees, the white car, was on the outside. Now he's trying to chop to the inside. Out front, the battle continues. Jerry Taylor back up to second place now, but David Clark is leading and starting to pull away. Oh dear, very close indeed under braking into the S's. Very close for comfort. So our cameraman Ross Bygrave, our other cameraman Jonathan Elvin, both enjoying tough races. And so too is Jerry Taylor. Taylor defending hard from Jakubowicz down the inside, and a big slide again. Jerry Taylor does have a habit of getting into that Russell bend very, very fast indeed and having trouble getting out, but the leader comes to the line and he's won a substantial margin in Caterham terms for David Clark to win that one from Jerry Taylor and Tomasz Jakubowicz side by side, all but 23 Jonathan Elvin with a drag race to the line as well. Will he hold on to his position? Not quite, he doesn't think so. 12 Simon Crees looks as though he got him at the line. And he is disgusted with himself, but delighted is David Clark, probably less so pole position man Jerry Taylor. He takes second from Jakubowicz, Redhouse, Garofol and Bygrave. That's the race order. Clark, the championship leader from Taylor with 10 races to go. Round 6 of the Caterham Roadsports Challenge from Castle Combe, and on pole position David Clark, number 1, the current championship leader, the fastest man on the track in qualifying. by 0.3 of a second from Ross Bygrave, who lines up alongside. Howard Redhouse is the third quickest qualifier, just a further 10th behind, and Guy Spur in fourth place, ahead of championship second place man Jerry Taylor. So Taylor starts fifth on the grid on this 3-2-3 system. 3 cars ahead of him. He's looking for a gap between the two of them. Bygrave doesn't get away very well, but from the outside of the front row, Redhouse makes a great start. Redhouse leads from Clark, then Bygrave in third, and there's some rumbustiousness around Taylor. He gets pushed and bored. And Peter Mangian right ahead has gone past him, so too has Thomas Jakovic. Into Avon Rise they go. Oh, Mangian turns sharp left under braking, and it's Jakovic. Jakovic, the Lotus-coloured car, dark green with a yellow nose stripe. Well, it looks as though Jakovic has continued. Mangian has got bits of cars going. Oh, and in a separate incident, Amos Roney goes off there as well, number 22. Well, that was a very dramatic start there. And 2 of the main championship contenders, Mangian and Jakovic, it seems out of contention, if not entirely out of the race. David Clark leads now from the high mountain view of Howard Redhouse. This will be if you're insane enough to try and drive a Caterham at 6'6". This is the view you get, I know, because I do it. You have to look out over the top of the windscreen. I never normally pass cars, though. That's the other way around. Howard Redhouse has to cede second place then. David Clark back into the lead, and a little wave of thanks to Howard Redhouse for giving him room at camp. Redhouse takes that on board and moves by once more into first place. So that's returning the thanks with compliments there. And once more room being given. No overtaking here, the yellow flags are out, as you can see, cars by the side of the track. But now Howard Redhouse leading, David Clark in the middle. On the outside is number 8, Jerry Taylor, riding with Taylor. So Taylor trying to go around both of them, doesn't work, but he's very firmly in third place here, chasing Howard Redhouse. There's 2 wheels on the grass, you hear the revs rise there. Taylor keeps it all under control as the outside wheel spins up as he loses traction on the grass, but he's still there in third place. These Caterham cars spreading out as they come over Avon Rise, 3 and 4 abreast. Is a very, very intimidating sight indeed. Cooper right on the back of that. Now he's making a move around the outside of Spur. You can see him to the left-hand side of the screen. Plumb dead centre, he was. Now he's over on the right-hand side, number 1, Clark still leading. 23, Jonathan Elvin started 10th, running 9th at the moment. But here is our lead group then. Clark, Redhouse, Taylor, then Bygrave and Spur side by side. Riding with Jerry Taylor. Very experienced championship front runner. And Redhouse looking to go and sit on the outside, and Taylor moving to the inside in the inevitable hope that the 2 cars ahead of him will tangle and take themselves out of the action. So nobody actually wants to see Caterhams go off the road. Clark still leading now. This is starting to settle down a little bit. Clark is becoming a very hard man to pass. Taylor goes around the outside. As the brake lights come on at Avon Rise though, Taylor is up into second ahead of Redhouse, but he didn't manage to make the full move on Clark. And Elvin has picked up a spot there as well. So our leader is Clark, Taylor second, Redhouse now third from Bygrave, then a little gap back to 66 Spur. And Elvin is really starting to fly now. Chris Cooper at the back of that little group, the white car with the yellow background, novices cross. Guy Spur in 5th, the purple car behind him is Alan Finn. Then Cooper and Elvin still battling. Elvin this time behind Cooper, so he's taken the position back. Once more riding with Jerry Taylor. This time though we're chasing the leader, and he's making his move early, isn't he? Very early indeed on the way down to camp. Will he hold it all together? He came in nice and quickly, but a good tidy exit. Jerry Taylor leads. So second in the championship now, leading the race for a moment until the championship leader David Clark comes back by him. Well, Clark got an even better drive out of camp obviously, and across the start-finish line he took the lead back. Meanwhile Ross Bygrave and Howard Redhouse are side by side. Redhouse on the outside, Bygrave on the inside. Guy Spur now settling down in 5th place and shaking off Alan Finn. There is the view as it's side by side for third and side by side for the lead as Jerry Taylor goes back inside at Old Paddock. Well, now David Clark snapping to the inside line once more. Under braking, changing down at Tower. Riding with Redhouse, and Bygrave comes past him. So changes all around the circuit. 32, Stuart Wright loses it on the grass across the track and onto the other side. Fortunately, he got missed by everybody, but look at this. Howard Redhouse coming in fast and furious. Up into third place he goes. Bygrave down to fourth. Spur is right with them now in fifth place as Finn starts to drop away a little bit in sixth. Riding with the third place man. At the moment, it's Taylor from Clark, but will Clark come by again? He seems to like this braking area into Quarry. Yes, he does. Even before they get onto the brakes again, he's ahead. So he passes over Avon Rise. So again, Clark from Taylor from Redhouse. Bygrave in fourth, Spur in fifth. That's the lead group. Then the purple car just behind of Finn in sixth place. And then it's side by side once more, Cooper and Elvin. And nowhere at all here for the third place man Howard Redhouse to go. Nowhere for anyone else to go except around the outside. And Spur almost loses it. Finn gets past him. So Bygrave and Spur went side by side there. Spur lucky to hold on to the car even if he lost the place. Taylor this time heading once more on the inside into camp. Once more he takes the lead. Once more David Clark snaps out as they cross the start-finish line to take it back. And Clark this time has Redhouse and Bygrave tucked right in behind him, and Jerry Taylor may lose 3 positions here. If he's not careful, Alan Finn will be in there as well. Oh, and Jerry Taylor fights back masterfully. Great racing. Finn ahead of Elvin. Elvin with the opposite lock applied to stay ahead of Cooper. And he just about manages it, but he went over the grass there, and Cooper now, the yellow car to the extreme left. Let's see who makes the moves among the leaders. Nobody, but it's 3 abreast for fifth. Cooper, the yellow car. Finn on the outside and onto the grass. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And Finn having a very long and rough ride over the grass there. Clark from Taylor, Redhouse and Bygrave. That's the order for the moment. That's the order at this corner at least. At the next corner it may be different going in, and indeed different again coming out. So Redhouse in the closing stages making a move past Taylor. Taylor in the middle of the corner takes the hand off the wheel to give him a little wave to let him know he's let him through and he's seen him coming. And Redhouse second place now. Taylor third, Bygrave fourth. And still great racing all the way here from these Caterham guys, Roadsport men. Perhaps not with the power of the Superlight R's, but every bit the racing expertise. And this 4-way battle for the lead has been so close and so clean. Amazing stuff. Time after time they go by within a whisper of each other, swapping places all over the circuit, and still they're all keeping themselves on the road and out of trouble. Back down to fourth place now for Redhouse. The closing stages. He's going for third on Bygrave, but there's a slower car in the way. Will there be room for them both? They make room. Bygrave moves to the right to allow Redhouse to get through. It's the final corner. Clark from Taylor. Will he hold it? Yes, he does. He's better through camp all the way through this race. Clark wins from Taylor. And then it looks as though Bygrave just got Redhouse at the line, but he needn't have bothered because Redhouse had a 10-second penalty for a jump start. But there is your winner, David Clark, on the road and in real life. From Jerry Taylor, the championship continues to be close as ever. So beautiful summer weather for a change at Alton Park for round 7 of the Caterham Roadsports Challenge. David Clark just has the measure of this at the moment. Jerry Taylor with him, but unable to challenge. Jakovic still not quite shaken off Howard Redhouse. Alan Finn looking down the inside there of Ross Bygrave. And 21, Richard Hay holding off Rob Garofal, the red car number 24, right with him there as they finish the lap. The leader's already heading off down the hill, but here comes Garofal down the inside. He's made his move early. He goes past Hay. Will he hold on to it at the exit? Yes, he does. Riding with Jakovic, and I think you can tell now from this camera angle that David Clark and Jerry Taylor are getting further away. Howard Redhouse comes by and drifts in a glorious sideways slide out there from the apex to take up third place. Jakovic in fourth, and again watch Redhouse applying the opposite lock as the tail steps out under power. The beauty of these Caterhams as a road car or as a race car, more power than grip, but Jakovic finds out that he hasn't quite got the braking room and he thumps him up the back under braking. Well, that was definitely a mistake there. Thomas Jakovic hitting Howard Redhouse up the tail, and Redhouse off on the side of the circuit. Jakovic's car looks to be fairly undamaged. Alan Finn trying a move now down the inside into the Knickerbrook chicane, and he gets past 66 Guy Spur, that is, in the yellow car. He started in 10th place on the grid, so he's had a good opening few laps, really working himself up the order. Look here now, Jakovic with greater speed, no room down the inside though, and the brake lights come on. He just can't find any way of slowing down enough to avoid Howard Redhouse. That wasn't a deliberate nerfing, that was just miscalculation by the driver. That's a genuine racing accident. Genuine miscalculation there by Alan Spate as well, outbraking himself, just missing the braking marker by a couple of yards, and going through the tyres rather than spinning into the middle of the chicane. Well, here are the guys he was battling, Stuart Wright and Malcolm Cook, 32 and 19. And off goes Wright, didn't quite get Druids right there. And it is a very quick corner, the double right-hander. You have to make sure that your entry is absolutely perfect. David Clark has done so far. Jerry Taylor, though, now looking to assume the lead as he did on the first lap at the first corner. David Clark had fought his way back by the bottom of the hill and stays ahead this time as well. Down Cascades they come, changing down, turning left as the circuit drops away from you, and then accelerating all the way out down to the hairpin. Howard Redhouse there, just trying to find a way into the top 10 ahead of Stuart Crees, the number 12 machine, who's leading the next pack. So Redhouse has managed to get the car back into gear, restarted and set off again after that unfortunate incident with Jakovic. There is Jakovic, he's third. Fourth, still Ross Bygrave. Fifth there, Rob Garofal, number 24 from 9th on the grid. And behind him from 4th on the grid, Alan Finn. And then the 66 machine, the yellow car of Guy Spur, right with them. He started in 10th. So the red car and the yellow car there, moving up the field during the race very well indeed. Alan Finn reversing down the order from his grid position. He'll look back at this race ruefully, I think. He won't be too happy with his performance. He doesn't seem to have had any incidents. Maybe he hasn't quite got the setup right for the circuit. Clark then with Taylor, these two old sparring partners in terms of Caterham racing at least, if not in actual years. Thomas Jakovic in third place, but look how far the leaders are pulling away from him now. He really is dropping back in quite some measure. Jakovic really not in with any chance of winning this one, but he has a podium position at the moment if he can defend that. Up to Druids they go, and the middle of the field coming through the chicanes, very sideways there for a moment, managing to hold it all together. Number 10 there, Ben Entwistle, in the middle of that group, the very Dayglow orange car. And David Clark easy to spot here as well because he's got Jerry Taylor behind him and nobody else in sight. Jakovic in third place, and still in fourth place, Ross Bygrave ahead of this little group. Alan Finn there in the middle of them. Spur really hanging the tail out there. Richard Hay, 21, just being dropped slightly away from the back there of the number 66 machine. But it looks as though the man on the move in this group might well be Rob Garofal. Back again to the number 19 machine. Malcolm Cook battling for position with Lloyd Berger, number 26 this time. He's managed to shake off 28 Alan Spate. Spate, of course, with that late out braking manoeuvre. But look at this, the number 7 car, Howard Redhouse, starting to drop this little group behind him now and continuing his chase back up the order. It was out of third place that he went earlier on, just at this point of the circuit. And he is now really streaming after the leaders, but I don't think there's any chance of him catching Clark and Taylor. They are so far ahead. Jakovic is probably safe in third as well, but we ride with Clark. And a little hand out of the cockpit there, because Jerry Taylor was having a look down the inside and then decided against it, knew there wasn't quite room, didn't want to take them both off on the final corner, and that was recognised there by David Clark. Jerry Taylor allowed him to continue without contact, and As a result, they come home first and second. Thomas Jakovic in third place, Ross Bygrave fourth, ahead of Alan Finn and Guy Spur and Richard Hay, the tail of that group. And then this massive sort out here. Everybody scrabbling to get across the line. Well, here is our second place man, Jerry Taylor. He runs both his own car and that of the winner, David Clark. So presenting the man whose car he lost to, but also preserved in one piece at the final corner, the winners' gala. There's the result then, Clark again. Round 8 of the Caterham Roadsports Challenge at Brands Hatch, and because of an oversubscribed entry, there's a qualification race. They get away nicely from the front rows of the grid, but just behind, watch as bodywork starts flying. Ben Entwistle collects Richard Blue and Jonathan Elvin. They're down there in the pit wall, and Entwistle stopping further up along the track. So Howard Redhouse, number 7, leads them through Druids for the first time. Again, the lead group go through safely, but a collision. Chris Cooper there and partly hidden Simon Bennett go off. Cooper in trouble. Well, the car of Jonathan Elvin spewing fuel from a split fuel tank, and so the race is stopped. Too much danger with the cars down there by the barriers. The restarted race again. It's Howard Redhouse around the outside into the first corner from Stuart Crease. The number 12 white car was on pole position. This time of asking though, with just 3 cars missing from the field, they all get around safely. Jerry Taylor stuck in the middle of this battle for the lead, and as ever in the Caterhams, fast and furious. Ben Entwistle getting onto the grass and rejoining there. You can see he's lost his wings from that earlier incident. Picking up from 10th on the grid, the green car with the yellow stripe down the centre. That's Thomas Jakovic, the Austrian. 69 machine fighting his way up the order. Guy Spur following through, now right with the lead group. But there is to be no denying Jerry Taylor, the yellow car with the white mud guards, taking the qualification race, and he will start second in the main race. Fastest of the 31 cars for round 8 of the Caterham Roadsport Challenge was David Clark. He starts on pole. The other 30 were in the qualification race. That was won by Jerry Taylor. He starts alongside on the right-hand side of the grid as they come over the rise towards us. He's in the yellow car with the white wings. David Clark on the inside, though, as we ride with Jerry Taylor, goes down into the lead at the first corner. So Clark holding pole position into the lead. Jerry Taylor in second place. Howard Redhouse along the outside there, and Jerry Taylor dives up the inside, takes the lead at Druids, but again Clark has a better run down the hill, and out of Graham Hill Bend he's back into the lead. Chris Wood, car 20, didn't start from 26th out of the 28 grid position men, but still David Clark leading from Jerry Taylor, and the field very closely bunched here, riding with Guy Spur. Ross Bygrave ahead, Bygrave getting a little bit squirrely under braking. Guy Spur goes past in the 66 machine, and a similar story repeated all the way down the field there. Guy Spur now, he's got Bygrave on the outside of him. They're under yellow flags, but Bygrave goes past anyway. They pass the marshals, pushing number 20 out of the way. So Bygrave has gone past Spur, and there is 33, Matthew Marsh. And we saw him battling side by side towards the end of the lap. And again, the leaders continue. Thomas Jakovic now coming back up inside Howard Redhouse. Redhouse gets third place back on the exit. Jakovic is in fourth. David Clark leading now. Car number 1, the reigning champion from Jerry Taylor, car number 8. And there is 66, Guy Spur. We ride with him now, braking into McLaren, then turning into clearways, trying to fight away the understeer. Keeping on the power, chasing Bygrave. This time, no yellow flags out, so it's open season for overtaking. Clark leads Taylor across the line. Then it's Redhouse. He's got Jakovic right with him, and Jakovic looking down the inside. He takes third place. Good move by the Austrian driver. And Redhouse drops back into fourth place. Stuart Crease is right with them. Ross Bygrave continuing just ahead of Guy Spur, and Spur looking up the inside of Druids. He's got 2 wheels on the concrete, and onto the Dragon's Teeth he goes. And Ross Bygrave just holding on the outside there. Here's the leader then, Clark from Taylor, then Jakovic, then Redhouse, and the battle's continuing. Richard Hay now right on the tail of Guy Spur, number 66. Hay in the black car, number 21. Riding with the second place man. This is if he was almost standing up in the cockpit, holding onto the roll bar like a staff car. But he gets sufficient aerodynamic drag to make this move impossible. Around the outside he goes. Jerry Taylor takes the lead. Riding with Guy Spur. Oh, squeal of tyres, he gets a little bit sideways, and by goes Bygrave. So Bygrave taking the position back. Spur going around him at paddock, and then he gets a little thump up the back. Richard Hay was right behind this battle, and it could be that the black 21 car has got a damaged nose now. This time David Clark pulls out of the slipstream early. Jerry Taylor hugs the pit wall. Now he pops back up onto the racing line. Onto the brakes, off the brakes, they turn in. The car goes light over the apex, particularly when, like David Clark, you run over the curbs and it flicks two wheels up in the air. Then hard braking up the top of the hill here. Down from the hairpin they come, accelerating, trying to fight away the oversteer. And again at the bottom of the hill here, trying to not allow the tail to slide too wide. You can hear the tyres squealing in protest. Jerry Taylor giving us a very good view of this lap here. Through Surtees, he's lost it. In too fast and then changed his mind, I think, Jerry Taylor. Perhaps a fractional lift of the throttle. That's all it ever takes to spin a Caterham. Believe you me, I've done it enough times to know. Well, Jerry Taylor giving us a perfect example there of what it's like when it all just gets slightly wrong. Thomas Jakovic pointing to the inside to Howard Redhouse. Redhouse goes through him. And again, Guy Spur looking down the inside line. This is a very determined move. He's very late on the brakes. They're locking up all over the place. He just gets it back under control, gets the power on again as they start to go down the hill. Up the other side to Druids. He's hugging the inside line. He really wants to keep this one ahead of Ross Bygrave. Massive pack behind. The black car is Richard Hay. The red car on the outside is Rob Garofal. They had a huge battle all the way around Alton Park and they're rejoining it there. 37, Peter Mangan is the white car right behind Richard Hay now. And behind him, 27, James Mills has just passed Ross Beer, but Mills has lost it. Mills gets out of shape going through Surtees across the grass. Oh, he tries desperately to avoid everybody coming back on. Well, spectacular stuff there from James Mills. And here is the replay as it all goes wrong from the outside there from Jerry Taylor. No option but to lock it up and hope that it stops before the tyres. Meanwhile, with Guy Spur around the outside, the long way, and loads of oversteer there. Oh, and through goes Rob Garofal there. Garofal, number 24, picks up the place. Here is Jakovic, 69, chasing the leader. Car number 1 out front, Dave Clark from pole position. Jakovic in second position. He started fourth. Fought his way right up the order in the qualification race. Third place for Howard Redhouse as they come across the line. And it could all still change. Until you see the checkered flag, you're never sure who's going to win a Caterham race. Clark goes out very wide. Jakovic has to take avoiding action. I don't think he'll have enjoyed that one too much. He just manages to hold off the car number 7 of Howard Redhouse. Rod Garofal on the inside, Ross Bygrave on the outside there. Bygrave stays ahead. We ride with Guy Spur. He's right behind them. Now let's see. Jakovic still attacking the leader as they come out of Druids and down Graham Hill. He's got Redhouse right with him. Jakovic now really focusing in on the leader. He's getting closer and closer here. Through Surtees they come, into McLaren, onto the brakes. Just about to turn into clearways, and there's contact. Jakovic hits David Clark right squarely in the rear wheel, spins him out. Jakovic continues. Clark resumes in third place. Such is their lead on the rest of the field, but they're coming up behind him very quickly indeed. Riding with Guy Spur, he's gone off as well. And somebody trailing smoke like the battleship Potemkin there, hand out of the cockpit, not that anybody is able to see it. And that's a rare sight, a blown engine in the Caterham. Look at this. Jakovic gets it all wrong there into clearways. David Clark pays the penalty. Jakovic drops down to second place as well as Howard Redhouse goes into the lead. Redhouse leading now then. Jakovic second, Crease in third place and right with him, and it looks as though Redhouse has gone off. Yes, he has. Redhouse losing it there as he tried to turn right into McLaren, and he rejoins behind. No, he doesn't. He rejoins ahead of the Austrian. Well, how did he manage that? Shorter way round, but much trickier to do it on the grass there. Not an advisable overtaking manoeuvre that at all. Well, they cross the line side by side, but Jakovic downhill on the inside line has the better advantage. He holds the lead. So Jakovic leading then. Looking back to Guy Spur, turn left, and oh dear, continue to turn left long after he should have been turning right. They all go off. Oh, goodness me, there goes 24 flying past. Oh, how did he miss an accident there as he rejoined? Across the line then for the final time, and this time Howard Redhouse has to go around the outside. He goes deep under braking, he stays wide, he avoids Jakovic, he's running all over the exit of the corner, very wide indeed. Jakovic has the inside line coming up to Druids. No way here for Howard Redhouse to get to the inside, so Jakovic leads, Redhouse and Crease. David Clark is in 4th place, but he's some way back from this lead battle. This is it all the way down now. Half a lap to go, less than 30 seconds to the flag of the Austrian leads. Howard Redhouse in 2nd place. 3rd place, Stuart Crease from 6th on the grid, so he's having a great race here. But look at this, Jakovic under pressure. Redhouse is right with him. He's trying desperately to get turned in tight enough to make it a drag race to the line, but I don't think he'll have the drive out of the final corner. Jakovic coming to the line. They're so close that broken light glass is flying off onto the track, but he takes it. Jakovic by a fraction from Redhouse with Crease in 3rd. But in fact, Jakovic excluded for poor driving standards. So there is the result. David Clark still leading the series. Round 10 of the Caterham Roadsports Challenge from the 12-race series. Just 3 remain. This is Castle Combe, and on pole position is the championship points leader, the Caterham K-Series champion of last year, David Clark. 2nd in the table, Jerry Taylor starts 2nd on the grid, and Austrian driver Thomas Jakovic starts in 3rd place, the number 69 machine. On row 2, David Garrett, car 50, and Howard Redhouse, number 7. All the regular drivers at the front of the grid here. Well, David Clark ready for the lights to change. The white car in the centre of the picture. There he goes. Jerry Taylor getting a good start as well. So too is the other front row man, Jakovic. But with the amount of road available to these cars, anybody could lead here. Oh, and somebody gets nerfed off on the outside. That's the yellow car, number 50, David Garrett, trying to make a move on Jerry Taylor. He is the yellow car there with the white wings. Taylor takes the lead from Clark. Jakovic on the outside of Bygrave. They're sort of 3rd equal at the moment. Howard Redhouse with them. Left of the picture is Jakovic. The classic Lotus colours, green with the yellow nose there. Jakovic on the inside line goes past both the men ahead of him. Taylor and Clark side by side, but the Austrian dives past the pair. So Jakovic leading, but not for long, I'm afraid. Here comes David Clark, Jerry Taylor in 3rd. 4th place still is our cameraman Ross Bygrave. Jakovic fighting back again, dives out alongside, and here is the view. Look over the top of Jerry Taylor. There is the Austrian on the inside. Jakovic takes the lead at the end of the first lap, so he should actually go into the scoring books as the leader at the end of lap 1 as they cross the line, because David Clark wasn't quite level with him. Clark comes back again now, down the inside. So 5 changes of lead on lap 1, not too bad at all. And it's Jakovic back again, and then Clark back again as they turn in. Jerry Taylor still side by side with 13 Ross Bygrave. Pick out the rest of the places for yourself, because the battle for the lead is keeping me far too busy to mention them, I'm afraid, at the moment. Thomas Jakovic on the inside, but this time doesn't get past David Clark. And there is a record for this race. The leader holding the lead for 2 consecutive corners. Oops, high speed off. Plenty of room to sort it out though. Back onto the circuit. And this time Jakovic taking a lunge down the inside to finish the lap. Goes past Clark, Taylor still 3rd. Howard Redhouse in 4th place. There's Rob Garofal starting 13th, but he's worked himself well up into this lead group. And again the battle continues, the lead changes. Clark, Jakovic, Taylor is the order at the moment. Well, Alan Finn, the purple car there, under pressure and being passed on both sides at the same time as they came up Avon Rise. There is the second camera car, number 13, Ross Bygrave. He's in 5th place at the moment. The black car on the left of the picture, Richard Hay, looking to pull out and make up a place on Garofal. Doesn't quite pull it off there. He's got Guy Spur behind him, the yellow car, number 66. The battle's continuing to keep the crowd on the edge of their seats. Number 13, Ross Bygrave, goes up into 3rd place as Jerry Taylor loses control. There's contact further back in the pack in avoidance. Oh, and a spin there from the number 18 machine. He goes off backwards. That's Mark Mayle. It's David Clark leading, and leading convincingly for this race, certainly, from our cameraman Ross Bygrave. There's the second group of cars, Bygrave, Finn and Jakovic. Three-way battle for second, then a three-way battle for 6th place. Rob Garofal leading it, Richard Hay on the back of it. Here is Garofal. Three cars ahead, just out of reach here. Garofal will be watching his mirrors, and Thomas Jakovic, not only is his view going to be slightly obscured as the nose cowling rises up at speed, but he may well find that flying over the top of the car. That will be a very frightening moment for him. Very strange looking car though, with that ultra high nose, as Ross Bygrave continues to try and put in the moves here on Alan Finn. Will he get past him? Yes, I think he does. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. He didn't have the inside line, but he just had enough of an advantage. Now the group behind have caught right up with them. So behind Alan Finn and Ross Bygrave, who are second in Bygrave's case, or was second, there is now a 6-car battle for second place. And David Clark is running away from this one. Clark having an almost yawnsome Caterham race by normal standards, because he hasn't been passed or had to attack anybody for laps now. Alan Finn comes back up into second, ahead of Ross Bygrave. Bygrave 2 wheels on the dirt, but holds on to it this time. So Finn leading then from Bygrave. This is second place battle, of course, don't forget, because there in the distance is David Clark. Bygrave now ahead of Finn. Then we've got Garofal, then Jakovic, the white car, 37. That's Peter Mangian. And then Richard Hay on the back of that, the black machine, and they are all being caught. This battle for second place is attracting the entire field. Finn coming back at Bygrave, and he gets him. Still Garofal, Jakovic, Mangian and Hay. And who's catching them up? It's Jerry Taylor, the yellow and white machine. Taylor, who started in second place. Bygrave down the inside of Finn. He goes round. Oh, goodness! Bygrave goes off in a very spectacular manner. Richard Hay crashes out as well there, number 21. But goodness me, Ross Bygrave, the marshal's right with him. He's resting on top of the barriers. He's moving in the car, you can see there. But that was a very, very horrid looking accident indeed for Ross Bygrave. Jerry Taylor has managed to work his way through that group in fairly short order, up into second place now. Yellow flags are out here though, as they come round the next lap. And there's bits of debris all over the place. Well, riding with Rob Garofal, and he is lunging down the inside into second place. Green flags, he can overtake there. But David Clark comes to the line to win the most comfortable race of his Caterham Roadsports career without any shadow of a doubt. A mass formation finish for second place. Everybody thinks they've got it, but let's have a look here again. Contact, Finn slides wide, it's all okay up to here. Okay, launched over Finn's wheels into the most horrendous barrel roll goes Ross Bygrave. And you'll be glad to know that Ross Bygrave, surprised and shaken, but unhurt in that one. And very, very fortunate, I think, to get away with that. The cars with these massive roll cages for just such an occurrence. But really, when you see an accident like that, it really makes you scared. Look at it again from behind, Rob Garofal. There's the contact, all looking innocuous here, and then he gets launched. Rob Garofal, I'm sure, there, looking in his mirrors as he went down the straight just to try and see what had happened. And right on board with Ross Bygrave. I don't think we'll see very much here. There's the contact, all eminently survivable, and then flicks over the wheels. And that's where the camera breaks up. So David Clark, the winner then. Backed off right at the end, only crossed the line just about 2 seconds ahead, but he did have a really big advantage in that race, didn't he? Garofal, Jakovic, Mangan, Mills and Beer, the final finishing order for David Clark, the 1998 champion.